Welcome back, everyone. Seafood Devon fan, Immortals Wing Chun. I'm lucky enough today to have my student Carlo here as my training partner. Today we're going to be talking about, so we use sparring as a training tool, a very important training tool as part of our classes, because that's one of the key ways, pressure testing, you can actually find out whether your techniques are working or not, and it kind of tells you what you need to be working on. So when Carlo's hitting me over and over again, tells me I need to work on my defense. When I'm getting in hits on him, he kind of figures out what he has to work on too. So today, for those of you training at home, I'm hoping that at some point you have someone to train and spar with. And these are just going to be some tips to hopefully make your training more successful, as well as how to apply the stuff that you're doing in your sparring to real life situations, because that's what we're trying to do, is actually prepare you for those real life situations. So before you start sparring, one of the most important things to consider is protecting your training partner, protecting yourself, because Carlo here is my student, but he wouldn't be my student very long if I was always injuring him and breaking his nose and everything else. Similarly, I wouldn't want to be his teacher very long if every time I was trying to teach him, he was actually physically injuring me, okay? So if you have access to equipment, you can use equipment, you can use headgear, you can use pads. A lot of people do those things, that's fantastic. However, realistically, I know not all of us have access to those things, okay? Back in the day, in a lot of kung fu schools, they didn't have them either. So in that case, we use open hand techniques, and that's going to talk about the techniques to use, techniques not to use. So when Carlo here and I are sparring, and we're fighting, okay, basically what he's trying to do, he's trying to create openings, he's trying to come through and actually hit and make contact with me here, okay? However, he doesn't actually want to knock, I hope he doesn't actually want to knock me out.
No.
I certainly don't want to knock him out. So for me, when I make contact, even if I come through, I'm just conscious of the fact that if I do come through, even if I do this a little too hard, he's moving it accidentally, worst case scenario, he's going to get his head knocked back a little bit, okay? I'm not going to end up breaking his nose. So we try to keep our contact to open hand contact. Not just open hand, because sometimes open hand can actually be very painful. So when I'm open hand, I'm going to use the broad part of my hand in sparring. So I'm not going to chop Carlo in the throat. That's open hand, it's not the right kind of open hand, okay? So here I'm just going to make contact like that, okay? Carlo is usually very careful, so even if he uses closed hand techniques, when he makes contact with a fist, it's like a relaxed fist and he's not actually trying to punch through me. Okay? So that's the concept there. We're being careful of our training, we're being careful of ourselves. Okay? So techniques not to use. The last we've been working on, because we started techniques from Chum Q, we talked a lot about doing elbow strikes. Elbow strikes are not a technique for friendly sparring. Okay? Because even Carlo, who's very good at throwing elbow techniques, he can misjudge his distance. Even if he doesn't misjudge, he may not realize maybe I'm coming in, I'm closing it at that time, when he's just throwing a ghost elbow, and it still could cause real damage, okay? So the general rule for sparring without protection, like this, no physical protection for us, is we don't use elbow techniques. Other technique not to use, okay, even though it's one of my favorite techniques, is shooting with Buse out here. Because similarly, Carlo's moving in, I may have good enough control that I can throw my Buse out of here. So if he's moving in, I'm going to end up poking him in the eye. I could blind him, cause real problems. Okay, throat, eye, anything like that. So don't do that. You can simulate Buse out, okay? So normally when I'm fighting here, if I want to simulate that, I would just throw my hand up like this, okay? Hand up like this. That means I could have done Buse out, but I'm not doing Buse out. I'm conscious of taking care of him when doing that, okay? Hope that makes sense, everyone. Did I miss anything, Carl?
I noticed.
Okay, beautiful. So the next thing we're going to talk about, ways that you can, how to start your sparring with your partner. So a couple different ways that are traditional in Wing Chun. Okay, beautiful, thank you. That first one is called Gores out, crossing hand. It's starting from Chi Sao. So we're doing Chi Sao here. You start with your regular rolling Chi Sao, Dan Chi Sao. Then when you sense an opening, so if he senses an opening, he's gonna strike. That then starts the sparring, okay? Becomes sparring from that point. What that's teaching you to do is this teaching here when we're sparring, doing Chi Sao here, it's teaching Carlo to sense those openings from contact. So when he sees a weak spot, where I see a weak spot, your teaches you to move through on those, okay? Or you can also think of it as this. We're doing chi sao, and I'm trying to create openings there, okay? It's the other thing it's working from. Let's chi sao sparring becomes called gor sao cross hand, okay? Very traditional Wing Chun. Only thing to be cautious of there, sometimes people are doing chi sao, then they start the sparring, then they try to force going back to chi sao again. It's not actually very natural to do that. For me, what I generally consider, the chi sao is your starting point. Once someone actually creates this chain of attacks, then it should become just contact sparring at that point. Don't try to fake go back to chi sao. You want to start from chi sao, again, it's okay, but in a sparring, it's not natural, okay? Only thing quickly to be cautious of here, benefits to this, you're learning this contact, you're learning to find openings from this contact and to create opportunities. Problem with it is, I'm still overcoming this. It teaches you, it trains your body to face square and to be doing this fighting square like this, and you don't actually want that to be your focus when you're fighting. You want to be mobile, go from side to side. Don't get trapped in this stay square from chi sao. Sometimes people do that too much, okay? The next one, you might have seen in Kung Fu movies, okay, is people starting from contact here, okay? So this has some benefits to it as well, but it's a little more distant, similar to chi sao. So when we're starting from here, he's already starting, he's using his left out strike, and then the sparring can go from there, okay? So again, you're starting from here, exactly. And you see what happens from there. All kinds of interesting things can develop, okay? That's one way. The way that I find is almost most beneficial for you, and for this one, how I would tend to do it, is we actually start from a distance here, okay? So we're just beautiful, okay? So all kinds of different attacks, but what you may notice is we're starting from, even back up a little bit, Carlo, we're starting from here. So what this trains me to do, and what I'm hoping he's going to get from here, okay, is regardless of where we're moving around, it forces you to kind of close that gap, okay? Carlo's been working on chum Q concepts and form. So for him, what I'm looking for, we do this kind of training, is he's working on creating that bridge with me. Okay, I want him to work on that bridge. So then he finds when he has his bridge, then he's using his techniques to come through and strike from there, okay? Both people, so focus on the entry. Only word of caution on the entry. So we're both here facing each other, okay? Sometimes I see people sparring and you see this. Before they start, you see them getting warmed up like this, okay? So for you, Carlo, when you attack, even though we're just sparring, when it's time to go, you should go. You should attack as if it's a real situation. The same kind of energy. Reason is, in a situation where Carlo needs this, a real situation, if he's been training, having to warm up like this and get ready because he knows it's just sparring, what you train is what you're going to do. In a real situation, he's not going to be able to automatically go. So for you, when we're here, when you go, yeah, you go from nothing to everything. My Sifu always talked about that. One of the secrets in Wing Chun. Nothing, everything, all at once. You should explode forward, okay? So that's a concept on the entry. The more you practice getting comfortable doing that entry, going sudden motion, the better it will be for you, okay? Next, we're gonna talk about some of the concepts that will help improve your sparring in general. By extension, your fighting, okay? So first one, we're gonna work on forward pressure here. We're sparring. Good, perfect. As we're sparring, he's getting much better not giving ground, okay? Before, my goal is always just push him around. Now he doesn't want to be pushed around anymore. So you see we're both focusing on having forward energy there, okay? Again, key concept in Wing Chun. I'm always trying to have forward energy. The minute we make contact, he's trying to push forward towards me. Again, not leaning in, but his stance is coming forward. There's a lot of forward energy. He's pushing me back. That's what he's trying to do, okay? If you remember when I was talking about the fighting concept, fighting tactics, the minute someone backs up, The minute they back up or get back on their footing, you have an advantage. That's what we're always trying to seek. Okay, next one. Working on with the lessons as well. If you have a wooden dummy, you can work on this with a wooden dummy. Key concept, fighting in Wing Chun is don't chase hands, okay? So sometimes you're doing Chi Sao, you can get so much into your head the idea of the techniques, it starts to think that this Wing Chun is just about this. But Wing Chun is not this. Wing Chun is going to hit, okay? So for Carlo, when we're sparring here, make connection. If nothing's in his way, he should hit. So don't worry about fancy techniques. Nothing's there, you go right away. You hit right away. Always, like I'm a wooden dummy. The wooden dummy, the important part is not the arms. The arms are just a way of getting through to the wooden dummy. So if you think of me as a wooden dummy, we're here, you're trying to get through this, anything to come through and hit. To come through and hit. This is your target, not this. Wing Chun chasing hands means I'm starting to get obsessed. I'm trying to do techniques on Carlo's arms, but I'm not focusing on his body, okay? If there's an opening, you hit. If there's not an opening, you get something quickly out of the way, you get it out of the way, and you hit, okay? So you're not chasing hands, that's good. That's concept. 2 more quick ones for you, okay? This next one. Let's just say Carlo and I are sparring, okay? We're sparring. Now, let's say we're fighting in real life, okay? I'm fighting here with him. Now, I back up, there. Over here we're fighting, I back up, okay? So, important here. This one is a deep secret, make a huge difference for you if you can apply it correctly. The most important moment is this. When we're here, and I'm here, is he's having to learn, he's working on decreasing the amount of dead time between when I back up and when he attacks, okay? Most important here, we're here fighting, I back up, he should be all over me, okay? So what he's doing here, the minute, and this will help from Chi Sao, the minute he feels that void, he fills it with strikes. He fills it, he doesn't let me move, okay? Otherwise, what happens is, if there's a dead zone there, it gives me time to kick, it gives me time to move, it gives me time to do other things like this. He doesn't want to let me move. If I have any space, I'm gonna pivot, I'm gonna come in from the side. Don't want to give me that space. Therefore, we're here, we're fighting, I move, oh, he should be right on top of me. The faster you can make it, the better it will be. If I move at all, you fill the space, you practice filling the space. Make a huge difference. Because suddenly my tools are taken away. I'm trying to move, but it's too late. He's moving, he's attacking. You fill it, space opens up, you fill it, you strike. Okay? Then I won't have time to kick you. I won't have time to move. You keep your attack up. Okay? Zero space. I move, you fill that space. Okay? Last one. We're here sparring, okay? Already I got hit a couple times, even though we're just playing around, okay? Well, regardless who hits who, when you're first starting, when you first are learning to spar, it can be tempting. Oh, you hit me. I might say, oh, good one, okay?
I did it. I won. I got him one time. It's over now.
He gets me lots of times. But if he does get me, I don't want to stop and say good one, because you just broke the chain here. And also, I want you, if you're in a real situation, if Carlo, my student, is a real situation, I don't want him to get in a habit of pausing whenever he gets hit, okay? He gets hit, he gets in a habit of pausing, okay? You never mind about it. We'll talk about it afterwards. When you're doing the sparring, you get hit, you keep going, you ignore, you keep fighting, you keep moving forward. That's what you want to train. What you train is what you're going to do, okay? So when we train this, you train yourself, you get hit, doesn't matter. That doesn't bother you, keep going. Later on you can analyze, or if you have a video, even better, you can look at where you got hit, what worked, what didn't work. Okay? Okay. Stay safe, pay attention, take care of your training partner, take care of yourself, keep training hard. We'll come back to you, Immortals Wing Chun, with more useful tips. Carlo, miigwech, thank you for taking part with me today. Woo!